What's up, movie fans? Guys, I just recently saw the newest MCU movie, The Fantastic Four: First Steps. And this is a movie that I feel like I have been waiting for literally my entire life, because this movie finally brings the Fantastic Four into the MCU. Before this point, Marvel couldn't legally make a Fantastic Four movie because the Fantastic Four were owned by Fox. So this is finally the introduction of the Fantastic Four into the MCU, which is something that child me really wanted. Going into this movie, I think that this is a movie that I wanted to be good more than like any other movie I've ever seen in my life. I went into this movie like actually praying that it was good, because the Fantastic Four, in my opinion, have had a very crappy cinematic history. I'm going to get more into that soon because I'm planning on ranking every Fantastic Four movie. But in my opinion, they've just never had a truly great movie. And I really wanted this to be the first Fantastic Four movie. Normally, I hold my verdict until the end of the video. Normally, I go into everything that I liked about the movie, then everything that I disliked, and then my final score, and I hold, like, my overall thoughts until the end. I'm not doing that in this case. This is a fantastic movie. I loved this movie. I'm just gonna say it right off the bat. My prayers were answered. This is the first truly great Fantastic Four movie, which kind of spoils my ranking of all of the movies that I'm going to do soon. But I don't care. I'm so happy with this film. Let's get into everything that I liked about it. I have some negatives, but I'll get into them later. So, this is a movie that, in my opinion, takes every single criticism that the MCU has been facing over the past few years and just skillfully dodges all of them. Like, every single problem, every single criticism it could have had, none of those apply to this movie. The MCU gets criticisms a lot that, oh, it's too big at this point, which I agree. I hate the fact that every time a new MCU movie or a new MCU show comes out, people kind of have to do homework and catch up in order to just enjoy a movie, which I agree. I think that that is something that the MCU has had a massive problem with over the past few years. Fantastic Four: First Steps is the most self-contained movie that the MCU has ever done. It doesn't rely on you seeing any movies beforehand. It doesn't rely on setting up future movies. No. This movie, it's literally set in its own self-contained universe. Like, it's still connected to the MCU via the multiverse, but this is a film that is set in its own pocket universe, and as a result, for once, you can just go into a movie and enjoy it as a movie. Nothing holding you back, no prior knowledge needed. You can just go in and watch it. And I think that that is absolutely fantastic. I'm going to say that a lot in this video. I swear I don't mean to make the pun. That's just something that I normally use in my vocabulary. But yeah, that's a great thing in my opinion. I like the fact that you don't have to see any movies beforehand to enjoy this one. Another thing that the MCU gets a lot of crap for is, oh, all of the movies feel the same. They all feel factory made, directed by committee. And I agree with that to a lesser extent, but still, I see where people are coming from there. I don't think that you could possibly make that argument with this film. This is a film that feels so different from anything the MCU has done in the past, and that is because once again, it's set in its own little pocket universe. So it has like this retro futuristic feel to it, which I think sets it apart a lot and makes it feel very unique and stylish. I really enjoyed exploring this new world. I thought that in general, the world building in this film was really, really good. And yeah, I just thought that it was an interesting experience, kind of getting to see an MCU film set in a completely different time period, a completely different universe, and kind of like doing new creative things with that. Another criticism that the MCU commonly faces today is CGI in a lot of recent MCU movies does not look good. In this movie, I was stunned by how good the CGI is in this film. This is a movie that is very, very sci-fi. Like, there is an entire segment of the movie that is set in space. The visuals are amazing. Like, they look great. And I was really surprised by how great they look. There's a few scenes towards the end where I saw some things where I was like, okay, maybe that was a little bit iffy. But for the most part, the visuals in this movie are astoundingly good and actually kind of stunning at certain points. And that's just really refreshing to say about an MCU movie. And then the final big criticism that the MCU gets nowadays, and this is the one that I think this movie, like, laughs in the face of the most, is the fact that MCU movies don't take themselves seriously. They're just a bunch of people quipping for 2 hours and making jokes about situations that should be more serious. Obviously, this movie has comedy. It has levity. But this is a movie that takes its central conflict very seriously. And I loved that. The basic premise of this movie is the Fantastic Four are expecting a child, like Sue is pregnant, so there's a new member of their family who is coming soon, and while they're preparing for that, and it's supposed to be a joyous occasion, they discover that their planet is about to be consumed by Galactus. Like, one of the biggest Marvel villains of all time, the big dude who literally eats planets. And so the entire movie is about them basically desperately trying to find a way to save their world from Galactus. And, you know, like, obviously the concept of big dude who eats planets is definitely something that you could fall in the trap of making jokes about. This movie doesn't make any jokes about it. This movie takes Galactus very seriously, and it really does, like, suck you into the dread of the characters, where, like, Galactus isn't in the movie a whole lot. I'd say he probably has, like, 5 minutes of screen time at most. But his, like, threat just looms over the entire movie as the Fantastic Four are grappling with how do you beat something like this. Galactus is terrifying in this movie. I think he is the most terrifying villain in the entire MCU. Maybe that sounds like hyperbole, but I stand by it. Like, every time he does show up, he makes the most of it, where his voice, the pure scale of him, it all just fills you with so much dread, so much fear, and you're genuinely kind of like, how do you stop this thing? Like, what do you do against a monster like this? And that's just something that I thought was really, really cool, that this movie managed to make me feel that. And because this is a film that, like, has such a dread to its story. It is a surprisingly emotional film. Like, I thought this movie had a more passionate and sincere story than most MCU movies, which I thought was really, really cool. So we've gone through a lot of the broad things that I love about this movie. Let's get into the actual Fantastic Four. It's kind of late in the video to be doing that, but I do just want to talk about how I felt about all of them. I think out of the characters, the best one is definitely Susan Storm, aka Invisible Woman. I think she had the best performance in the movie. Vanessa Kirby did a great job, where the entire film is just about her desperately trying to find a way to preserve their planet so that she can have a life with her kid. It was really heartfelt. I thought that Vanessa Kirby was fantastic in this movie. Even though she's the character who I think was the best, my favorite was probably Johnny Storm, aka Human Torch. I think Joseph Quinn did a great job with him. He was very funny. He's definitely the most comedic character in the movie. But they also don't make him stupid. I feel like that's a thing that a lot of Fantastic Four adaptations do, is they make Johnny kind of the stupid, goofy one. No, Johnny is shockingly smart in this movie. He has an entire subplot about him doing something that the rest of the four kind of thinks is dumb, but then it ends up becoming incredibly important, and it turns out that he was kind of a genius the whole time, which I thought was a really cool subversion. I wasn't 100% sold on Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic going into this movie. I just wasn't sure if I could see him in that role, but he did a great job. A really, really good job. I was surprised with how much I really loved him in this movie, as throughout the whole movie, he's kind of stuck in this situation where he has to decide between what is the most logical thing to do to stop Galactus and what's the thing that is actually going to save the most lives. I don't want to go into the specifics of the sacrifices and stuff that they're faced with in this movie, because I don't want to spoil anything. But yeah, I thought that Reed's arc was fantastic in this movie. Ebon Moss-Bachrach plays the Thing, who is typically my favorite member of the Fantastic Four. I won't lie, he was my least favorite in this movie, and that's simply because he doesn't have as much story relevance as the other three, but he's still a frequent part of the entire movie. He's along for the ride, he has some funny lines, he's just a cool supporting character. So I still liked him. I just wish that they did a little bit more with him story-wise. And then I guess the final character that I want to talk about, Silver Surfer. A lot of people are really angry that they gender swap the Silver Surfer or whatever, because this isn't the same Silver Surfer from the, most media. It's a different character from the comics, but most people don't care about that. Most people just see Silver Surfer's a girl and complain about it being woke or whatever. But in this movie, I thought they did a great job with this version of Silver Surfer, where she does have a fantastic arc throughout the movie that I thought paid off really, really well. And yeah, she's a great character. So, yeah, that's all of the positives that I have. We're going to get into the negatives, but there's not really a lot of them, so this is going to be fairly quick. First off, like I said earlier, I think there's a couple moments in the movie where the CGI is a little bit iffy. For the most part, this is one of the best MCU movies from a visual perspective we've gotten in a long time. But there's a few moments where I was like, maybe that didn't look the best. I'd say the other major problem that I have with this movie is I think the editing in the first like 20 minutes is a little bit weird, where it's like there's a lot of stuff that we're just montaging by. There's a lot of scenes that I was surprised were in the trailers, but actually got cut from the final movie. There's like a lot of moments in the film that I just thought were a little bit like too quick cut and stuff. Like, yeah, a little bit of iffy editing in the first 20 minutes, but ultimately it wasn't that big of a deal. Like I said earlier, I thought this movie was great. I thought it was fantastic. I loved this film. It's a movie that has so much passion poured into it that you can feel. Like, the Fantastic Four, they really do feel like a family in this movie, and I love that. I really love their dynamic with each other. I like, it's a heartfelt film. It's a movie that manages to genuinely scare you with the nature of its story and its villain. This is a movie that like really got me excited about the MCU again, especially because we've had 2 good MCU movies in a row with Thunderbolts and this film. That's very cool. It doesn't happen often, but I'm really happy that this movie stuck the landing. I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10, and I highly recommend you go see it. Like, seriously, like I said earlier, you don't have to watch any other MCU movies to understand this one. So if you've never seen an MCU movie before, you would still enjoy this movie. Like, that's really cool and refreshing to be able to say. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like and subscribe. Comment down below, what did you think of the Fantastic Four First Steps if you've seen it, and see ya, movie fans.